So my province of Ontario just went into another 4 week lockdown, or they're calling it a shutdown, but it has much the same effect. Um, and I'm looking around and I'm hearing people despairing and saying, "Oh, it feels like this is never going to end." Not just in Ontario, but in different parts throughout the world. Really, this sense that this is just going to keep going on and on forever and ever. And I know that people would say, "Yeah, but we have the vaccine and we're on the verge of being through this." But you have to look at just the how the goalposts have continued to move throughout this, right? Like it started off by being 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and gradually we found ourselves we're a whole year in now. I don't know how many people would have agreed to this from the beginning if they knew how long it was going to take. Um, and the other thing really is just that in addition to um, the goalposts continuing to move, there are people who are saying we nobody's safe until everybody's safe, meaning everybody's going to have to get the vaccine. And then it's like, where do you draw the line on that? Because um, young people are at extremely low risk of dying from COVID. And I, for one, am not particularly concerned about the long term effects. I think life is dangerous; it's full of dangers, but every day we take risk based decisions, and often we just plug our ears and then go for it. Like I'm more likely to die in a car accident statistically than from COVID. So you got to put these things into perspective and say, okay, once we've protected all the older, more vulnerable people, we have to be able to make that risk decision to say, okay, we've crossed this threshold, and now we're at the point where it's safe for us to go back to our normal lives, right? So the concern amongst many of us who are lockdown skeptics is that the goalposts will keep moving and shifting towards this complete eradication of all risk, which ironically introduces a whole bunch more risk into society through all the sweeping collateral damage that the lockdowns and the restrictions and all these measures are having. So, with all that in mind, I want you to do something for me. You may still have some patience in you, you may not, but what I want you to do is please go to your calendar and pinpoint the date at which this would no longer be okay. Because if you think about this, there are a couple things going on. One of them is called the sunk costs fallacy. And that's a psychological predisposition we have to keep investing in something even after it's proven to be a bad investment because we're so far in. So our judgment can be impaired a little bit. And the other thing is really just thinking about how a lobster is cooked by gradually turning up the temperature. It doesn't even know that it's being killed. And let me just clarify, I'm not saying that somebody's trying to kill us. Like, I'm not putting forward some conspiracy. I'm just saying that nonetheless, we are being boiled alive by what we're doing to ourselves and or allowing to be done to ourselves. So go to your calendar, put down the date at which this would no longer be okay, at which you believe that we should be back to the full enjoyment of our full lives and freedoms and so on. And it may even be, I was talking to my partner about this and we had different views about it. It was an interesting discussion. So for you, it may be that it was actually months ago. For somebody else, it may be a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. Go put that in your calendar and describe to yourself, sit down and think about it, talk to your friends, your loved ones. Just make a promise to yourself that says, here is where we have crossed the line and I'm going to do something about it. And then describe to yourself, what is that? What form of activism is that for you? Is it writing to your members of parliament? Is it like going on a really big campaign to really share your concerns and facts and everything with various people? I really doubt that very many people believe that this should go on forever, especially if you've watched my previous video or other information from lockdown skeptics who all are saying that the infection fatality rate of this is low enough that what we're doing is totally disproportionate to the risk and the danger we're trying to avoid by trying to get to zero COVID. So please, 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 for all of our sakes, don't allow us to be the lobster that gets slowly, slowly boiled through this kind of mindless continued investment in this sunk cost. Please go figure out where is your line, talk to your friends and family, figure out where your line is, and then put that down, even if you think it's ridiculous because we're so close to normal with the vaccines. Please, please, I'm begging you, put this in your calendar. Here's your line. Make sure that you promise yourself you're going to do something about it and describe to yourself what that is. Again, we're not all, very few people, I believe, would be okay with this just continuing to go on forever. And yet, what if we find ourselves, oh, there's a new variant, oh, there's so much we don't know. And yet, that's true of life in general, right? Because if we were conscious of all of the risks that we face every day, We would eat perfectly healthy. We'd get tons of exercise and sleep. We wouldn't, go do anything fun ever. We probably wouldn't travel, all sorts of things. So just we have to restore sanity and balance in the way that we view things and we view risk. And I want you to go put this in your calendar, make that promise to yourself, and be prepared to do what you have to do once that line is crossed. Thank you.